Power. Really enjoyable bye week. I think when you come off of a victory and a needed victory and a big victory and a ranked victory, it's more enjoyable than if you're coming off a loss, obviously. Then I think the next thing is to make sure you got a really good plan for how you use the week. We took a day and a half off, had our longest, most competitive, head-to-head, red versus white team practice that we've had all year, probably yesterday. It was long, it was fun, it was competitive, it was tense, it was good. And we'll take today off, get back to work tomorrow.
What is Ole Miss? I mean, I know they've struggled to score, obviously offensively. Kind of a, comparing a high-scoring team like yourself versus a team that's had to, really struggle.
If you look at it on just stat for stat and you look and you see a team that is not traditionally scored, some of that has a product to do with the way they play offensively and some defensively. We're not going to get as many possessions regardless of how fast we want to play because they tend to use a bunch of the shot clock down. So you still have to be efficient. It's the I'm glad that the LSU Vanderbilt men's game happened because it's an easy parallel for our kids to draw. We've only won once or twice at Ole Miss ever. So there's plenty of us that can talk about reasons to not be overlooking an 0-10 team coming off of a big win with Tennessee on the other side of that. Definition of the trap game or whatever people want to call it, but I don't think we'll fall for that one.
So I want to ask you, such a great performance against Kentucky. Everything was just really clicking, and then you talk about how you have a great practice during your bye week. I mean, how much does one roll over to the other, possibly, roll over to this Ole Miss game, and now you start really rolling into this final stretch of the season?
Yeah, momentum's a real thing, and people that want to, poo-poo it, they've never been around it when it's going. It can go either direction now. That's the dangerous part. But one does lead to the other, and then hopefully it continues. I think also this is that time of the year for us. February 9th, I went back and looked, like some of the biggest wins ever have happened for us that first full week in February because the way we started practice in August and the way we started pulling practice back 5-10 minutes a week, starting at Christmas, starting at Thanksgiving. This is where that compounding effect starts to catch up. Not only are our minutes limited in games, but they're limited in practice as well. And that's where we start to see maybe our legs are a little fresher. Maybe we're making more shots in the middle of February. And it may have cost us a game or two early in the year, but I think this is where we reap the rewards of that benefit of it because we are fresh. We still like to come to practice. We're not dreading it. It's still fun. So hopefully that's the case with this team. It has been for our last 6 teams, or 5 teams, I guess. Hopefully this will be the 6th. Or is it 7? No, it is 7. This will be our 7th team trying it.
Now, I know that there was a tweet put out yesterday that you guys have the most points in the country in transition scoring, which is a nice, fun thing to brag about. But obviously that's so much a part of what you guys do. How nice is it kind of to see it paying off in that way?
Well, we're not going to be very good if we let the teams get set up and get their big kids back around the basket. So we have to lead or be at the top of the country in that stat. If we're not, we got an issue. So it's good to be there, and it was by a pretty significant margin. I think the video just hit. They were looking at it over in the office, so I'm anxious to go back and look at it. But that's got to happen for us to win and beat good teams. To put 103 up on a Kentucky team that was averaging, giving up only, in the high 50s, low 60s, that's some evidence that it tends to work for us. We can beat a good team with it. If we don't have that, then we've got no chance to beat the best teams. So it's something that has to continue. We have to still continue to get better at it while we're learning ways to beat teams that can combat it. Our losses have come to teams that can protect the rim. You can look down at it and look. They all had somebody around the rim that could block shots, keep us off the foul line, keep us from getting back in transition. So we've got to find a formula to beat teams that have that. And until then, we're going to rely on transition being the thing.
I know that Destiny got some playing time against Kentucky a little bit, and I apologize if you got asked after the game. I wasn't here, but just being able to kind of continue to bring her along and get her into games, how big is that going to be for you guys?
Well, I want her just to not be nervous this time next year, and work the nerves out right now. She's been doing great in practice. you know, and I think the practice reps against Taylor and Aaron and Kiera are valuable, but they're the ones against the other teams invaluable. The timing of her injuries was really unfortunate for her in her development this year. But if you were to put a grade on where she's at through February of her freshman year, it's still really, really high. She's doing everything you ask her to do. She's going to be fun to watch when she gets comfortable and gets those nerves knocked out, because she can make there's games in our league that she can make a big difference in, not only the rest of this year, but for sure next year and then her future years.
You talked about 8 wins as one of those kind of targets that you guys are looking for. What's your thought
Update
on
on it?
Yeah, what's your thought on the number of games that you'd like to see? I mean, what's
8's still the number that historically an SEC team, combined with 20 pre-tournament wins, has always received an at-large bid. That's just numbers. Now, that doesn't mean that you can't be the first team to never do that. But with the RPI where it's at, with 8 wins, with 20 overall going into the SEC tournament, those teams have gotten into the NCAA tournament. So we're 1 win away from each of those things happening with 5 games left. And we talk about it. It's on the side of our practice schedule. It is updated every single time we have a practice, and they look at it and they know. It's been a race, to get to that first hurdle is 8. The next hurdle then becomes 9, 10. Now you're playing for seed in the SEC tournament, and then you're playing for seed in the NCAA tournament after that point and beyond. There's with 5 games left, obviously 13's or is it 13? No, 12 would be the max. Is that right? 12 would be the max we could get. That's what you shoot for. You shoot for 12. If you get 12 wins in this league this year, then we better get Bud Walton Arena ready for hosting an NCAA tournament game. If it's less than that, probably going on the road somewhere. If we don't get another one, we're sweating bullets, and then see where you go. But every little game creates another hurdle, but it also means you can't go backwards. They can't take one away from you. So there's no chance of going backwards. Can't take them away from you. The next win just means something new to look forward to.
All good?
Thank y'all.
Coach.